Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Band of Barbers podcast. I'm your host, Devon Evans. Thank you for joining us this evening for a little bit of barber chat, barber industry chat, late night, because that seems to be when we're recording now lately. Thank you guys for joining me and everything like that. And boy, do I think we have a touchy subject, but we have an episode for you today. I think we do. Unlike many episodes, although we'll keep with the same way that we're numbering episodes, today I just want to talk about something that I believe, and that is you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but the old dog can learn if they have the desire. And, it's really just that. Me personally, I am so tired of the debate about what new barbers are doing versus old barbers, and older barbers are like, this doesn't make any sense, or anything like that, or they're just not willing to learn anymore. And that's the key that you have to understand about this situation. The younger barbers who are fresh into the industry look up to the older barbers, the guys that have been in the industry, the guys that have, if you still have the luxury, or the guys that have been in the industry since before, social media was a thing. The guys, the 20 to 30-year-old guy, the 30-year veterans. Not that there's a lot of them that hang around, but there's still some. We look up to those guys. And, and then there's a mid-range of guys that are probably, I feel like, in the 10 to 15 year range. And one of the things about those guys that generally kind of seems to be a thing is that they don't want to learn anything new. They don't want to advance. They've built up a clientele base. They've done these things. And unfortunately for a lot of them, they're getting surpassed. They are being surpassed by the new barbers. They're being surpassed by the new barbers. Why? Because the new barbers come in, they're young, they're hungry, they want and seek out the information. And you've got the older guys, or the guys that have been around for a while, and they just don't seem to want to learn anything new. And, generally I will say this. If you are comfortable where you are, and this is not how I feel like you should always be changing, evolving, and growing. But if you're comfortable where you are, that's fine. That is okay for you. But what I will say is you can't be comfortable in where you are and complain about where you are at the same time. I think for most barbers, generally, we've all watched the Barbershop movie. And I don't remember which one it was, whether it was one or two, or I don't think it was three. But what I can tell you is I remember a very, very specific scene in Barbershop where Cedric the Entertainer's character was sitting in a chair. And, in the movie, he was the old guy. He kind of sat in a chair most of the time, most of the movie. You never really saw him do anything. He was just kind of there. He kind of existed. Now, Cedric was comfortable. He enjoyed the environment. That's why he came to work. He enjoyed being there. That's why he came to work. But you never saw Cedric the Entertainer's character, you never saw him complain about the young guys getting after it. He left space for them to get. You never saw him complain. And the first person to call him out was a younger guy. And what did he do? He had knowledge to teach, and that's what he gave them. That's what he gave him. He was comfortable in what he was doing. That's fine. It's okay. But I don't feel like you can complain about a situation if you're not willing to change the situation. You just can't. You can't complain about a situation if you're not willing to change it. At least not to me. That's to me, that if we're not going to change this, we probably only going to have this conversation once, twice at the most, before I say something that is going to be about you making a change in your life, in your situation, whatever is going on. That's just it. That's it. You get about twice. You get twice with me, and then that's it. And the biggest thing that the older generation, or I won't even say the older generation of barbers, it's some people that they go to school and think they've learned everything that they need to know. And this is it. This is all that they need. They learned all of the tools that they needed in school, and they don't need anything else. They're not going to try to get any better. They're not going to try. All they're going to try to do is take whatever skill set that they brought out of school, and they're going to maintain that, and that's it. They're not going to make any changes. They're just not. And again, if that's what you want to do, sure, be my guest. But please, please don't be that guy and complain about what the younger guys are doing, or the guys that are in the industry, or the guys that are changing, the guys that are going up in price, and you don't like their price, and you don't this, that. Don't complain about what they're doing. Do not complain about what they're doing, because you have the exact same opportunity. And you know what the really unfortunate part about it is that the reason that you're not taking the opportunity is because you're not willing to change. You're not willing to change how you do business. You're not willing to change your skill set. You're not willing to change and learn, understand, and grow with the trends that are going on. You're not willing to do any of that stuff. So the result that you have is the result that you're going to get. You can stand behind that chair all day long, but if you've got a person around who is hungry, who is willing, who is there, who is consistent, they may take over what you're doing. They may take over your clientele. They may offer a high. There's only so long that someone can. You're going to retain some of your clientele base just because of your time and what you've done. But if you don't adapt to the new market, you're going to get left behind. You are going to get left behind. And typically, you're going to do things that are desperate. You're going to do things like drop your prices. While everybody else is going up, you're going to drop your prices and say, I've been doing this for a long time. And, I'm just trying to take care of the community. No, you're making excuses. You are making excuses. You are making excuses for not wanting to change, not wanting to grow. And that's just it. And so which will kind of bring me into my next point. I don't care how long you have been in the industry. If you want to grow, you can. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you're doing, but you have to have the desire to grow and change. You have to want it. The excuse of I'm not that smart. Okay, cool. Can you read? Okay. Can you watch a video? Okay. You can, if reading is a struggle for you, I'll give a shout out. I don't know if you'll ever listen to this, but Justin Boykins of the Team Barber Boy in Mobile, Alabama, is dyslexic. Dyslexic. He runs a very nice shop in Alabama. He also is a social media influencer. All of these things. He will tell you in a heartbeat he is dyslexic. And he does some very, very good cuts. He's very versatile in his services. Now, he might have more curly, kinky, wavy clientele, but he doesn't shy away when he gets straight hair in this chair. He doesn't turn them away. He make it do what he do because he is the barber boy. He is the face of the brand. He is present. He is consistent. He is there every day. And you know what I like really about him? He puts it out there so you can see. He's talked about all different types of things as far as the industry. I have never met Justin Boykins face to face. But because of his openness and the way that he runs his business and the way that he does things and the way that he is present, ever so present in the market, I know a lot about him. I know a lot about him. He doesn't shy away from his secrets. He doesn't shy away from, he got kicked out of barber school, I think, twice. He doesn't shy away from that. He doesn't shy away from the fact that he, I believe, dropped out of school. But he makes no excuses for running a poor business. He makes no excuses if he makes an error in business. He wants to right the wrong. And he's been in the game much longer than I have. Now, if he's about my age, but come on, like, I don't care how long you've been in the business. Stop saying, if you are here to just get money, please. And this is just for me. This is just how I feel. This is something I'm very passionate about. Get out of the industry. Go get a job. Go do whatever it is that you are passionate about, because you the one that's throwing them in a chair, throwing them out the chair. Don't care how well the haircut looks. Blames the client for all of the failures and mistakes that you may have made. You guys are hurting the people who actually care about it. Because you're the one, you are the type of person who is charging $15, $20, whatever it may be. You are the person who, when they come to sit in my chair, or someone who cares about the industry, they may look at me and say, "Dang, that's your prices are expensive." And I'm going to tell you the truth. My prices aren't expensive. Are they going to go up? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. But as they sit right now, my prices aren't expensive. But you $10, $5 barbers, I mean, let's be honest, you're giving them what they pay for. And I believe you're giving them what they pay for because you see no value in getting any further education than what you have. You picked up the Clippers 30 years ago, and I would generally say, for a lot of you, some of you, I won't say all of you, some of you ain't changed. You ain't changed. You still cutting 90s style, what was acceptable in the 90s, the early 2000s. You still doing that today. The level has changed. The desire for crispy, clean haircuts, it has grown. You may, and if you have curated a market where that works, cool. Cool. And you know what? Let me say this. I'm honestly, I hope that you're still listening, but I'm going to stop talking to that person because those aren't the people that I really want to talk to. I'm talking to the person who is been around or who wants to get better, who is older, trying to get into the trade, trying to learn the trade, trying to do all of these things. You can learn if you desire to learn. Now, I give you a prime example. In school, I didn't really like to read. I didn't really care for it. Like I could read, I would read, but I really only got interested or read things that I was interested in. Luckily, I was interested in history, so like I would read that stuff. But if it was like read this math textbook or or whatever, like wasn't necessarily going to do that. Wasn't going to didn't like to read for fun. And when I got older and there wasn't a demand for me to read something that I wasn't necessarily interested in, I started to read things that I was interested in. And guess what I was able to do? Read. And I read like a madman. I still read like crazy. I still read like crazy. Now, 16, 17-year-old me, not trying to read. 34-year-old me, I get upset. I'm behind. I've been giving you guys this game these last couple days, and I haven't had the opportunity to read like I would like to read. Now I still read every day. I read something. It may not be what I necessarily want, but I still read. I still read. Okay, and there was the desire to read and gain knowledge. What did I read? I read a lot of barber books. I read a lot of personal development books. I'm reading a lot of business books. I'm doing all of these things because I want my business to grow. And sometimes, I'll say this: you cocky barbers, I'm the best thing since sliced bread barbers. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. I got my own this. I got my own. You don't understand that you have a business that's solely built around you. Right? And if you have children, you should be building to give them to be able for when you retire to be able to hand the business off to them and or sell it. You should be building to sell a business. Like what sense does it make to build a business and hold on to it forever just to say you own something? I don't remember the conversation that was discussed, but if you're into the music world, there's this big thing that's going on right now is people getting their masters back from their records that they recorded. And I don't remember who said it, but I'm gonna paraphrase what they said. They went and asked for their masters, and the person that they were talking to, or they were talking about getting their masters back, and they were talking to somebody, and they said, "What are you going to do with the masters?" They said, "Well, I own them." They said, "Okay, I understand that, but what are you going to do with the masters?" "Oh, well, I own them." See, now, what you don't understand about what they were saying, if you don't get it and understand me, owning the masters meant nothing if you didn't know what to do with them. And this whoever may have them, they may be doing a lot with them to get you your residual checks that you get every year. But if you don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it, when you get your masters, when you have your business, if you don't understand how the business works, if you don't have an accountant, if you don't have a lawyer, if you're not planning to expand, if you're not growing, if you don't have the right team in place, listen, old dogs, you can learn if you want to. And stop making the excuse of that's just not something that I do. Best it become you something that you do. Life behind the chair has a limited lifespan. it has a very limited lifespan. And don't be the guy who had all of this money behind the chair doing this and great this and all of that, but you don't know how to manage your money. So when you retire, you broke. Now you got to go work a job. And you got to go not only work a job because you probably didn't understand or manage your finances correctly. You got to go work a job. And because your living expenses are so expensive because you lived out of your pocket for so long and you didn't manage to figure out the business, now you have to go work a job that is meant to be the high paying jobs that may compare to what you're doing, the pay that you're getting. These are jobs meant for young entry level people or people who can grind. You know, in my area, you can go into a factory, and one of the factories around here, they typically work 7 days a week. 7 days a week on your feet doing a repetitive task for someone else to make minor coins. And you got to show up every day. You got to be there every day. You got to ask somebody for time off. Like, no. Learn, expand, grow your business. Learn, expand, grow your business. Stop being, I understand that we all need finances to survive, but stop being so money hungry and learn how to grow and expand. You're only one person. You're only one person. And you can stand behind the chair and you can cut 1 million heads a day if you want. Sure, if that's what you want to do. You can stand behind the chair and do all of that. But I would advise you, I would definitely advise you to figure out some ways to get from behind the chair in such a drastic, because you're putting so much pressure on yourself. So much pressure on yourself. And if you're not learning anything about the business and you're not learning anything about your skill set, you're going to get surpassed. If you think that you're going to maintain these older clients forever, here's the reality about older men. They begin to lose their hair. So if you banking on, I'm going to keep this client for the next 20, 30 years until I'm ready to retire, that's what you're banking on. You're going to be in for a rude awakening because that older clientele is going to dwindle off. That younger clientele that's okay with the jacked up haircut that you may give them now, and you speeding through it real fast and everything like that, you get them in and out of the chair. As they get older, they get into high school, they want to look like something. And if you think that you're going to keep giving them the same haircut from when they was 5, that you was rushing through trying to get them out of the chair because they was impatient, they were 5. At 15, they want to look like something. They got homecoming, they got prom, they got school pictures. They not looking for the butcher shop. And now you can grow and maintain a client for a long time, but you got to grow with them. And your excuses, because that's what they are, your excuses are killing your business. Your excuses are killing your business. You losing clientele, and then you looking at other people for sympathy because you lost them. But you know what the problem is? You are so rough, or so rough is the wrong word. It's definitely the wrong word. You are so unwilling to learn that if we told you what was wrong, you just shut us out. and think we don't know what we talking about. Okay. My product, the products that, for the people that are willing to give you that advice, I would pay attention to what they're doing. I pay attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to what's going on. Stop it. Stop it. Don't be upset with people who are trying to give you game. I don't care how old they are. We are barbers. We have an eye like no other. We understand what a good haircut looks like. And if you got a barber who is doing great haircuts and his chair is spinning, his clientele is full, he's doing all of these things, and you're upset with him, or you say something to him and he wants to give you advice, you might want to take it, because he's doing something that you can't do. You come in the shop, and I understand being the walk-in barber. I understand being that guy. Right? I get all of that. But I'm just saying this. You can't be independent and dependent at the same time. You just can't. You can't be independent and dependent at the same time. Pick an attitude, pick a decision, pick a choice. If you're going to be independent, then you need to act in an independent manner. If you're going to be dependent, then it's best that you listen to what's going on so you can become independent. But you can't sit there and say, oh man, what's going on? It's slow today, and da 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 da, and so on and so forth. So, are you your own boss? Yeah, I mean, listen. Depending on what type of shop you in, you in a booth rental shop, you can leave whenever you want to. You can leave whenever you want. Yeah. Yeah, you can. But that inconsistent behavior, that complaint, like, did you want to be independent, or did you just want somebody else to take care of you? And if you want somebody else to take care of you, understand that somebody else taking care of you comes with their rules that you can't complain about. Yep, it does. Come with their rules. So I went off on a tangent there. Like, you really have to have the desire to actually want to learn. That's important. Have to have the desire. I stand on it and I believe it. If you don't have the desire to learn, if you don't have the desire to grow, if you're not in this to grow and build in this business, this might not be the business for you. I don't care how well or how well you can cut hair. But if you're not looking to enhance your skills, you're not looking to, like, you've burnt out, you've fallen out of love with what got you into this in the first place. And if you got into this for money, you're in for a rude awakening, because this is a hard career to have to only think about money. And I dare to say, if this is a career that you're in, you only think about money, I dare to say you've probably had at least 5, 6, 7 jobs or more, always chasing money, but you're always inconsistently happy in every single job. So the money is not your motivation, because you probably made strategic moves to go from one job to the next because the other one paid you more money. But when you get down to the root of it, the problems that you're having with the job are the same. I got more money, but I don't want to do what they're asking. Now you look at it. Now you done gone through all this training, you done all this stuff. Now you're a barber. You got more you got more freedom, but you don't want to do what the client asks. There's a period of time where you can excuse yourself and say, I'm new. But if you're still cutting like you new and you've been in the game for a while, I just don't understand. If you're not asking the right questions, you'll never get the right answers. You got to ask questions. Have some humility about yourself. Please. Have some humility. You had humility when you started. At some point, you gave somebody a jacked up haircut. It is what it is. So go back and find that person who was humble, who had some humility, and grow off of that. Go dig deep and find out why you keep jumping from place to place to place to place to place. From career to job to job to job to job. Are you really ready to be independent, or do you need structure? Do you need to be in a chain shop or a what's the word? Do you need to be in a commission-based shop that has hours that you have to work? You might need to be, because you need the structure. And the independent thing might not work for you at the moment. But making the excuse that you can't learn is only just that's what you're telling yourself. I can't learn. No, again, you can. You just choose not to. It's not important enough for you. It is not important enough for you to learn and expand and grow. You'd rather sit back and say, why is such and such getting so much money, so much more than I'm getting? Why is his skill set so much better than mine? Sit back in your shop and listen to the conversations they have. Listen to the conversations they have. They're talking about their skill sets. They're talking about different things. They're talking about their marketing and what they do. Sit back, listen, and watch. Become observant. Shut your mouth for a period of time and just become observant. Do your work and try to grow. And shut up. Shut up. Stop trying to be seen. Stop trying to be a used car salesman selling lemon products. Work your way up. Become a real, work your way up. Become the skilled barber that you want to be. Overcome and push through it. You've made mistakes. You've had issues before in cutting hair. And you got past them. Now because you so many years in the game, now you don't make no mistakes? No, that's a lie. You're human. And humans are susceptible to error. So you're going to make mistakes. You're going to cut into a cowlick at some point if you're rushing and not paying attention. Even if you are paying, you're going to make mistakes. Just relax. Relax. Take a bite out of the humble pie. Take a bite out of the humble pie and become better. Desire to grow. Find what made you love it in the first place and fall back in love with it. That's just it. Find what made you fall in love with this and fall back in love with it, please. Please, 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 please fall back in love. Because the nonchalant, I don't care, not willing to learn, all that stuff is doing is damaging what's already there. Like you're damaging the industry. May not be as a whole, but you're damaging the industry in your area, which damages the customer's point of view. Guys, we get to cut hair for a living. That is an honor and a privilege. We get to service our community. That is an honor and a privilege. I don't care what background that you came from, hood, country, socialite, sophisticated neighbor. I don't care where you came from. In the barbershop, behind your chair is your business, and you need to be professional. You need to be the professional. We talked about it yesterday. 90 days of consistency. Supposed to be to work 9 to 5, show up. And this is the honest truth. Some of you'll run into better stuff if you're consistent. I believe it was Michael Phelps who talked about swimming. And Michael Phelps, I think, during one of his preparations for the Olympics or during a period of time, he swam every single day, nonstop. He didn't take a day off. Because it was his theory that if he took a day off, as most of his competition did, he would lose what was there. And I think it was something like if he took a day, or I think it was most swimmers only swim 5 days a week. They take 2 days off. And I believe, don't quote me on it, you can fact check me or whatever, but you'll understand the point. I believe what he said is that when a swimmer, the average swimmer swims 5 days a week, and they typically swim twice a day. I think that he swam 3 times a day, 7 days a week. And some people said his one exercise is his one swim was what most people did in an entire day. He did it once, and he did it 3 times a day. 3 times a day. And his belief was that when he took breaks, if he only swam 5 days a week, when he took those 2 days off, those 2 days cost him a week of training. So being consistent and being present and being behind the chair with a mind willing to learn gives you the ability to learn. You don't want to listen to the younger guys? Cool. That's fine. But don't shoot the younger guys down that's trying to share game with you if they see something and they feel like they can help you. This game, it's the weirdest idea ever. The barbering business is about community, but the community in the shop sometimes can be jaded because of jealousy. I'm here to serve the community, but I dislike the person next to me because they're better than me, or they're better than me, or they come off as cocky or something like that. No. What you don't realize for a lot of the young barbers that come in the shop, do you realize that a lot of them looked up to you? Because you were in a much further place than they are, and now they have caught up to you and surpassed you, and you're frustrated because you're still stuck in the same place. Well, dang, did you pay attention to what they did? Because you know what they probably did? They paid attention to you. They paid attention, saw your skills, saw what you were doing, tried to mimic and ask questions and everything like that. But when the student becomes the teacher or the student becomes the master, now you're upset. That's what they're supposed to do. It's just like raising kids. Like your kids are supposed to go further than you have. You are passing the baton. You're not racing against them. Stop thinking everything is a competition. Stop thinking everything is a competition, because it's not. I said this before. You pick your city's locale. If you live in a decent sized city, there is no possible way, if you spent 365 days behind a chair all day, every day, that you could cut every single person in your city, town, county, whatever. You couldn't do it. And everybody's not going to sit in your chair. That's also another thing. But it's very unlikely that you could do it. Somebody want to prove me wrong? Sure. First of all, physically, you can't work 365 days in a row, 24/7 all day long without some ounce of sleep. So, already disproven. You can be as cocky as you want to be about it. Already disproven. So put quality workout behind. Put quality workout. Learn how to provide quality. Learn how to provide quality, consistency, all of those things. Challenge yourself to be consistent. Whatever you consider to be your best haircut, we all have that one client that we have that we can do the best haircut every single time. It doesn't matter. It's exact. Challenge yourself to do that with everyone. Challenge yourself to give consistent, great haircuts over and over and over and over and over again. Challenge yourself to do that. You don't want to learn from anybody else? Challenge yourself. Like I said, challenge yourself to give consistent, great haircuts. At worst, you're going to get better. At worst, you're going to learn your system, because you're doing one of two things in your inconsistencies. You're either skipping steps or you don't know the steps. That's it. Skipping steps or you don't know the steps. So maybe, that might be step number one. Take whatever you think you know and challenge the thought. Figure it out. I don't care what guard system you use, whether it's detachable, whether it's this, that, and the third. Now, clip over comb may be a little more difficult for you if you're going to try to build your system around that. But in general, for most barbers nowadays, they don't use clipper over comb quite that often. That's kind of a finishing detail. But like, you're not clipping over a comb to cut out bulk and all of those types of things. If you are that guy, like, okay, But you understand a little bit about the whole process. But for the average guy, we're they're using detachables, they're using plastic guards, they're doing something like that. Look at your guard system. Typically, they go 0 to 8, right? Or half guard to 8 if you have a full set. Or, with your detachable, it's what's a 5/0 to a 3 3/4. That's the biggest size that you can get in a blade. Huh. Do you ever think, and this just may be something for you, sandwich method. This is how I learned to kind of be consistent. Whatever I put at the top, at the parietal ridge, I got to make sure that everything underneath of it, if I put a 2, I need a 2, a 1.5, a 1.5 guard, and a clipper open. So I got to put all of those steps in underneath that 2. Stop trying to rush and skip steps. Because if you don't know how to make all of those go together, how are you going to skip the steps? Where do you know to skip the steps? Angle, pressure, all that kind of, like, if you don't know it, if you don't understand it like that, you're struggling. You're struggling. You're wasting your time. You're just sitting there guessing. This looks like this should be it. This looks like this should be it. You're not setting it up in the correct way. You're not setting it up in the correct way. In a consistent way. I won't even say correct. In a consistent way. If you're consistently sloppy, you're going to consistently get sloppy results. Point blank, period. Organization is key to being successful. Organize your station correctly, organize your guards correctly, put things back in the same places, do all of those things. Old dogs can learn new tricks if they want to. Old dogs can learn new tricks if they want to. And it's the if that has to do with you, not with anybody else. The information is out there. Seek it out. Seek it out. Go find it. If you have embarrassed yourself so much that you're not willing to ask the barbers that you work with because you feel like they're going to look down on you, you're embarrassed to do that, get on YouTube. If you're embarrassed to do that, if you don't know how to do that, watch the barbers around you if you feel like they're better than you. But I will say, to me, the most important thing about barbering is not about someone paid me at the end of a service. Money's a natural consequence. If I give you a service, the consequence of that service is that I'm going to get paid. Just as if you were to go to work. If I work for this certain amount of time, I'm going to get paid this certain amount of money. Based on the agreement that we've had before. The agreement is my haircut costs this much. If I provide this service to you, you're going to pay me this much. No, I don't need a tip. I set my prices to be what my prices are. I appreciate a tip, but I don't need it. Right? Get it together. Get it together. Stop being so closed-minded because somebody told you when you was younger that you couldn't learn. No, you can. But you believe the lie that somebody else told you. And one of the best ways to learn in this technical skill in this industry is to watch and observe. When you were, keep in mind, when you were born, you weren't born walking. You learned how to walk. You watched other people walk. you learned how to crawl, and then you learned how to stand, and then you took your first step, and then you wobbled around and fell on your butt all the time. And then one day you walked with consistency, you stopped falling, and then one day you started running. It's a process. It's okay. No one is, I would say this, no one is looking at you as if you are a failure. I tell you that I tell you the truth. For the real good guys, these older guys that may have had experience in teaching them when they first came in and things like that, those guys, guess what? Those guys don't look at you as failures. Those guys are upset because they feel like you were supposed to be a leader. And they were trying to catch up to you, and then they surpassed you. And then their leader became a hater. Can't even say a follower, became a hater. You want the role of a leader? Be a leader. Do what leaders do. Right? Do what leaders do. Have some foresight. Just sit down, write some goals out. Making a bunch of money to buy a bunch of clothes to impress a bunch of people who don't really care about you, or clothes that sit in your closet and that you never actually wear, is dumb. It's a waste. It's just a waste. I've never once gone to a barber shop and been like, yo, I want to see what type of shoes my barber has on today. What's his drip look? We deal with hair. Stop it. Now, some people may respect and compliment you because you look nice, but your nice shoes and outfit and all that kind of stuff doesn't mean that you can cut hair well. Do something different. You want to learn. You don't want to learn? Cool. Stop making excuses. Stop getting mad at the people who are learning. Stop it. It's annoying. We want to learn to grow and get better. We want to learn to expand our clientele. We want to learn to give people in the industry more, to give our community more. You know, today's rant, I'll say, it wasn't necessarily a rant. It's just saying, like, you older guys, like, you can learn, you can get better, you can do all of those types of things. And don't be upset at someone who has broken through and surpassed. Don't be upset with them. They didn't do anything but what they're supposed to do. They grew. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to be the same person 5 years from now. Leave them alone. Let them be. Either way, went long. I went for a long time today. Didn't think I was going to go that long. Had kind of gotten an outline together. Don't know if I necessarily hit all my points, but I will close with the statement of the episode. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but the old dog can learn if they have the desire. My challenge and my question is to you: do you have the desire, or are you just that old dog? You're just an old dog, and you want to be respected for being an old dog, and all that kind of stuff. The choice is yours, because the industry is not going to stop growing. The industry is not going to stop being what it is. And what it is great. What it is an opportunity with I'll be honest to you, a very low barrier to entry, as at least financially. You can open a shop with probably $500 if you find the right location. You know, when this is after you get your license, I won't say, or I mean, you can. It's a low barrier to entry to become a business owner, and other than your school time, unless you find an apprenticeship, that's generally the only delay in income that you have. So we're talking about a year, maybe a year. I don't know. Well, guys, I'm your host, Devon Evans. This is the Band of Barbers podcast. Please, if you have any comments or any feelings about this, please share it. I would dare and want to continue. Older barbers who say and think that they're there, I would dare and say let's have a conversation. Let's talk in the comments. Let's talk in the Q&As. Let's talk. Ask some questions. Because this is one that's near, dear, and true to my heart. All right? It is. As always, guys, if you're enjoying this content, please like, comment, share, subscribe so we can grow the tribe. I'm signing off for tonight. Edit this and try to get this up before midnight. A lot of times I'm recording every day, but sometimes I don't always get the recordings out on the day. So it looks weird. If you're looking at it, it looks like I did doubles on some days. I didn't. It's just dealing with the editing and all of that kind of stuff. And, also, I will say this. I do very minimal edits to my stuff. But if you guys know somebody, you're listening to this, and you're an editor, a long form editor, or something like that, and you really know how to do this, and you want to get all of my ums and ahs and my pauses and my pops, you really want to do that, you really want to see this grow, please hit me up. Help me out. Because I don't like to edit. I'm just doing this because I committed to it, and this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing. This is what I love. I love sharing and talking to you guys. But if somebody wants to help, please, by all means, I will take the help. Thank you again. Have a good night.